Kim Jong Un, the supreme leader of North Korea since 2011. But what can the 10 years of Kim Jong Un tell us about North Korea's future? Let's say a decade from now, 2031. But before we can make careful predictions, let us first understand some of the historic problems related to policy making towards North Korea. While North Korean officials have the privilege of planning for the long term, policymakers in democracies like the US and South Korea tend to think on 4 or 5 year timelines. Let's look at the US policy, for example. They chose short-term fixes, carrots and sticks, over and over again. In 1994, sanctions need to be painful enough to induce the North Koreans to reconsider the decision to proceed with their nuclear weapons. In 2006, if they do not want to face additional pressures, they have to come back to the six-party talks. 2014, we can continue to apply more and more pressure, so that at some juncture they end up taking a different course. And it continues in 2020. We will make sure that UNSC resolutions are enforced. That will make clear to the North that they need to come out and negotiate and talk. Fast forward to 2021, we are prepared to pursue this diplomatically, even as the sanctions remain in place. The question is North Korea? It turns out that all these carrots and sticks have failed at turning around North Korea's nuclear intentions, one of Kim Jong Un's top goals since he became leader. So what if Kim Jong Un continues the same path, the same trends for the next 10 years? What are probable outcomes? Will Kim Jong Un's official portraits proliferate around the country, like here at Kim Il-sung Square? And will ongoing constructions continue, changing Pyongyang's skyline, like here at Juche Tower? Well, let's start with the military. Despite North Korea's significantly improved military capabilities, it has not enough transporter vehicles to field large numbers of their intercontinental ballistic missiles. Kim Jong Un, being aware of this, has already developed domestic manufacturing capability, and in just a few years, it is possible we might see parade scenes like this, with dozens of ICBM launchers. How else can North Korea bolster its nuclear status? But there's a notable issue with liquid fuel ICBMs like North Korea's Hwasong-15, is that they take hours to prepare, making it easy for enemy satellites to detect launches well in advance. Solid fuel is a solution as it can be launched quicker, so we may see new style solid fuel ICBMs being paraded at Kim Il-sung Square soon. Another area to watch is the North Korean submarine technology. Days before the Stockholm talks in October 2019, North Korea used a barge to conduct a test launch of the new solid fuel Pukguksong-3 missile. 10 years from now, we could see more shows of power a bit like this. Multiple test firings at once of an ultra-reliable North Korea submarine-launched ballistic missile. Given the Pukguksong-3 range of 1900 kilometers, once deployed and reliable, it is a real threat. Finally, let's keep an eye on North Korea's space exploration goals. It is highly likely there will be further satellite launch attempts, and they may eventually deploy a modest spy satellite, designed for military planning against South Korea. Then what about foreign affairs? There isn't much reason to expect much change in how the international community will view North Korea, given all the sanctions over the past 20+ years. So it's most likely that North Korea will continue to focus on relationships with countries targeted by US sanctions, like Iran and Syria, for example. Of course, China will continue to be a key priority for Pyongyang. Let's look at the new Yalu Bridge. Unopened since 2013, but when it inevitably opens, it will become a game changer for cargo flows between the two countries. The less China cares about sanctions, the more we can expect this to turn into major traffic, with significant economic benefits for Pyongyang. The result of this foreign policy trend? Well, once COVID-19 passes, air corridor route maps might look a bit like this. So what can we say about the future of North Korea's economy? Since Kim Jong Un came to power, we've already seen a lot of constructions, despite increasing sanctions. Labor in North Korea is effectively free. The only costs are cement, glass and steel. It's likely the Pyongyang skyline will continue to develop in superficially impressive ways. This means more apartments to house prestigious Pyongyangites in. But it will also help North Korean propagandists show that the leadership continues to serve the people, A modest win-win for both the people and party. And if we look at life in rural North Korea, it is currently relatively backward and requires a lot of manual labor. 10 years from now, the picture won't have changed much, but it's likely we'll see a proliferation of low-cost mechanized farming equipment and better land management. And let's not forget North Korea's cyber-tech capabilities. Already viewed as the most aggressive cyber-capable nation in the world. It's likely that North Korea will continue investing in offensive cyber capabilities. In 2031, it's possible to see large-scale facilities throughout North Korea, doing their best to steal from individual and corporate digital wallets. Then how about outside of Pyongyang? For example, Wonsan, where the Kalma resort shows that not everything will always go well for Kim. With an eventual opening of the resort, it is yet uncertain where the tourist numbers will come from. Maybe it will become the Ryugyong Hotel of modern times. Next, let's talk human rights. For all the trend lines to continue in the ways outlined, Kim Jong Un is going to have to ensure total control of his people continues. Defector numbers are at its lowest since 2002. But fast forward, Kim Jong Un could decisively turn the tide by fully sealing off the border in the future. In fact, we've already seen signs of this taking place. This February 2021, pictures show the introduction of much sharper fencing along the border and new camera systems. But as technological development prevails, so too will the risk of ideological contamination from overseas. 10 years from now, we may see North Korean authorities increasing effort to block or jam foreign media and other communication systems. But how about information coming out of North Korea then? After 2 years of COVID, we already saw a massive exodus of foreign diplomats, the entire UN system and all NGOs, with tourism completely suspended. Though the country will probably open again by 2031, but whether the foreign presence will ever get back to where it was in 2019 remains a question. This means information flows out will be greatly restricted. And this is not the last, as North Korea will probably seek to acquire Chinese-style surveillance, facial recognition and information control technologies. So the proliferation of CCTV and automated systems to surveil civilians can be expected, making it more dangerous for North Koreans sending information out of the country or communicating with family in the south. So what does it all mean? Remember this infamous target map of the USA mainland from 2013? Well, in 2031, this strike plan will be highly credible. Then how will the international community respond to a missile attack at Yongbyon-do, or downing of a civilian aircraft in South Korean airspace, knowing that North Korea can nuke most of North America? What can be done if sanctions are maxed out and North Korea continues making cash through illegal means and cooperates with other sanctioned countries? What if anti-unification sentiment could become public in South Korea? And what will be the course of Kim Jong Un's first daughter if she is introduced as the fourth hereditary leader of North Korea? Of course, we don't have the answers, but we hope it gives some idea of where we might be going. We can consider responding to North Korea of tomorrow rather than North Korea of today.